Have you ever felt a whisper from the universe? A secret language spoken not in words, but in feelings, in vibrations, in a deep, undeniable knowing. There was a soul who walked this earth, a man named Nikola Tesla, who didn't just hear these whispers, he understood the entire language. He gave us a sacred key, a divine roadmap to understanding the very fabric of existence, and it's a truth that has been hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to awaken to its power. What he unveiled was not just a theory for scientists in sterile labs, but a profound spiritual revelation meant for every single soul yearning for a deeper connection to the cosmos. If this message already resonates with a truth stirring deep within you, if you feel that pull of recognition in your very cells, then acknowledge this moment of alignment. Like this video to anchor the frequency, subscribe to continue this journey of awakening, and share in the comments below the single word, "I resonate," so that others may find solace in knowing they are not alone on this sacred path. If there is one singular quote, one divine transmission that perfectly encapsulates the spiritual worldview of the visionary Nikola Tesla, it is this sacred utterance. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. At first, these words might dance in the air like poetry, like a beautiful, abstract metaphor for the mysteries of life. But you must understand, for a soul as attuned as Tesla's, this was no metaphor. This was not a poetic flight of fancy. It was the literal blueprint of reality, the very source code of creation. He perceived the universe not as a chaotic collection of separate, disconnected objects and beings, but as a vast, magnificent cosmic symphony. Imagine a symphony of infinite, oscillating forces, a grand orchestra where every single thing, from the smallest, unseen particle of dust to the magnificent complexity of the human mind, plays its own unique note. He understood that each of us vibrates, that our very essence is a song, and that this song is either in beautiful harmony or painful dissonance with the grand composition of the universe. This profound perception, this divine insight, was not merely a flight of imagination, it was the foundation upon which he built his entire understanding of existence, a blueprint that he believed could unlock humanity's true, boundless potential. At a glance, this perspective might sound poetic, even mystical, but for Tesla, this was the absolute bedrock of his scientific and spiritual quest. It was not an abstract concept. It was the very lens through which he viewed the entirety of creation. This was not a metaphor he employed for artistic effect. It was the fundamental blueprint of reality itself. He saw the universe not as a collection of isolated static objects, but as a breathtakingly vast and interconnected symphony of oscillating forces. Imagine, for a moment, the entire cosmos as a living, breathing orchestra, where every single element, from the tiniest subatomic particle to the vast, swirling galaxies, from the hum of a crystal to the intricate thoughts within the human mind, vibrates at its own unique frequency. He perceived that everything, absolutely everything, is in a constant state of motion, a divine dance of vibration. For Tesla, this wasn't just a scientific principle, it was an existential truth. He understood that he, you, and I are not separate from this cosmic symphony. We are integral parts of it. Our thoughts, our emotions, our very being, are frequencies that we broadcast into the universe, contributing our own unique melody to the grand cosmic song. This understanding was the key to all his work, the core of his genius. He wasn't just trying to invent machines, he was trying to tune humanity into the fundamental music of existence itself, to teach us how to harmonize with the divine rhythm of the cosmos. This profound understanding was not just a passing thought for Tesla, it was the very essence of his being, the source of his incredible genius. He didn't just stumble upon this idea, he lived it, he breathed it, he felt it in every fiber of his being. He perceived the universe not as a collection of separate, lifeless objects, but as a grand, interconnected symphony of vibrating energies. He saw that everything, from the smallest particle to the grandest star, was part of a cosmic dance, a harmonious orchestra of frequencies. For him, this wasn't a metaphor. It was the literal truth of our existence. He saw reality as a blueprint, a code that could be deciphered, not through brute force, but through understanding the language of vibration. He intuited that behind the illusion of solid matter lies constant motion, that this motion follows a divine rhythm, and that within this rhythm lies profound meaning and purpose. This was the sacred code he dedicated his life to cracking. His mission was not merely to invent clever machines or to build new technologies. It was something far grander. He sought to tune into the fundamental music of existence, to align himself and, ultimately, all of humanity with the divine frequency of the universe itself. He believed that if we could learn to resonate with this cosmic harmony, we could unlock abilities and potentials that we currently can only dream of. Tesla's obsession with vibration, therefore, wasn't just a scientific curiosity. It was deeply existential, a spiritual quest for ultimate truth. He didn't see the universe as a cold, mechanical machine, but as a living, breathing, conscious entity. It was an organism pulsating with a profound and accessible intelligence, an intelligence that could be communicated with, not through force or domination, but through the delicate and sacred art of resonance. In his private notebooks and personal letters, he frequently described moments of sudden, blinding illumination. These were not slow, methodical deductions. They were flashes of insight, complete and fully formed visions that would appear in his mind with breathtaking clarity. Were these simply sparks of an extraordinary genius, or were they something more? Were they moments of deep spiritual insight, instances where his consciousness temporarily aligned with the universe's own frequency, allowing him to receive information directly from the source? Tesla himself believed these experiences were not random. He was convinced that the human mind itself could function as a kind of sacred receiver, an antenna capable of tuning into the right cosmic channel. He believed that by achieving this state of alignment, one could tap into universal truths that transcend our ordinary, limited perception of reality. This idea, this profound understanding that we are surrounded by an ocean of invisible information, a sea of potential just waiting to be unlocked through the power of vibration, places Tesla at the fascinating crossroads between the mystic and the scientist. He was a man far, far ahead of his time, a soul whose consciousness was already exploring realms that our modern physics is only now beginning to map. Fields like string theory and quantum field theory are starting to echo the very truths that Tesla seemed to sense intuitively over a century ago. These cutting-edge theories suggest that at the most fundamental level, reality is not solid at all. It is not a collection of tiny, hard particles. Instead, it is a shimmering, vibrating web of energy. Reality is vibrational. Even consciousness, which was once dismissed by mainstream science as a mere accidental byproduct of the brain's chemical processes, is now being seriously re-examined. A growing number of visionary scientists are proposing that consciousness might not be generated by the brain, but is possibly an emergent property of deeper, more fundamental energetic fields, a concept that aligns perfectly with Tesla's intuitions. Meanwhile, spiritual traditions from every corner of the globe, across countless cultures and millennia, have always spoken of this same core truth. They have always taught the importance of raising one's vibration, of aligning with certain divine frequencies to access healing, profound insight, and ultimately, spiritual enlightenment. Tesla's unique genius was his ability to bridge these two seemingly separate worlds. He saw no division between the physical and the metaphysical, between the scientific and the spiritual. To him, the universe didn't just contain energy, it was energy, a boundless, endlessly shifting, humming, and flowing sea of potential. He understood with every fiber of his being that if a person could learn to comprehend this divine flow, to feel its subtle pulse, to harmonize with its rhythm, then one could achieve the seemingly impossible. One could not only invent revolutionary new technologies that could transform our world, but one could also fundamentally transform the very way we live, think, and perceive reality. The idea that reality is something you can actively tune into, much like tuning a radio to a specific station, is so much more than just a poetic analogy. It's a complete paradigm shift. It means that your perception of the world is not fixed or objective. It is fluid and subjective. It means that what you experience as real is entirely dependent on the frequency you are aligned with mentally, emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually. This single realization opens a doorway to immense, unlimited possibility, a truth that holds the power to liberate us from the chains of our perceived limitations. So, what if we are not merely passive observers of the world, helpless spectators in a predetermined reality? What if, instead, we are active participants, powerful co-creators who are constantly shaping our reality through the broadcast of our own inner frequency? Tesla's life and work are a testament to this profound truth. His legacy, then, is not just a collection of brilliant machines and revolutionary ideas. It is a powerful reminder that reality itself is malleable, that we are all vibrating beings living within a vibrating cosmos. It is a sacred invitation to recognize that perhaps the most important invention we could ever build, the most powerful technology we could ever master, is the ability to consciously tune ourselves. Not to control the universe, for that is an illusion born of ego, but to beautifully and gracefully harmonize with it. Nikola Tesla often spoke of receiving his incredible insights, not through laborious analysis or logical deduction, but through sudden, vivid visions, fully formed, images that would appear in his mind with an almost shocking clarity and detail. To many, this process might sound mystical, perhaps even irrational. But Tesla himself never dismissed these profound experiences as mere hallucinations or fantasies. He was deeply convinced that he was accessing something real, a form of higher information encoded in the subtle frequencies that exist beyond the reach of our ordinary awareness. This opens a fascinating and deeply spiritual question. What if the human mind is not just a source of thoughts, but also a sophisticated receiver of frequencies? Just as a radio can pick up invisible waves from the air and transform them into sound, perhaps our brains, when in certain states of heightened awareness or deep alignment, can tune into dimensions of reality that are normally hidden from our view. Tesla's visionary episodes, from this perspective, weren't outliers of a strange mind. They were evidence to him that consciousness itself could be modulated, expanded, and aligned with greater, universal truths. In this light, his mind wasn't simply brilliant, it was exquisitely attuned. This ancient spiritual wisdom finds a surprising resonance with the discoveries of modern neuroscience. We now know that our brains operate on different brainwave frequencies, alpha, beta, theta, delta, and gamma, and that these frequencies correspond to vastly different states of consciousness. From the focused alertness of beta to the deep, restorative peace of delta sleep, from the relaxed creativity of alpha to the profound insight and mystical experiences associated with theta and gamma states. These are not abstract, philosophical categories. They are measurable, vibrational states of the brain that fundamentally shape how we perceive the world and how we think, feel, remember, and imagine. Meditation, for example, is a practice that has been proven to increase alpha and theta waves, which are often associated with intuition, inner peace, and a surge of creativity. This is precisely the kind of state Tesla seemed to inhabit when he was receiving his most profound inspirations. In this sense, consciousness isn't a static, fixed thing. It is a vast frequency spectrum, and the more attuned we become to these subtle inner vibrations, the more we may be able to access levels of thought, feeling, and perception that completely transcend the surface mind. Tesla's mental process, therefore, may have been nothing less than a highly advanced tuning mechanism, a deeply sensitive interaction between his own nervous system and the energetic frequencies of a vast, intelligent cosmos. He deeply believed in what he called the finer forces of nature, which he insisted that the science of his day had yet to fully explore. Today, we might refer to these forces as subtle energies or fields of consciousness. He intuited that our thoughts themselves might carry a specific frequency, that our intentions could literally shape reality, and that the human mind, under certain conditions of profound focus and alignment, could transcend the ordinary limitations of time and space. These were not vague, mystical leanings for Tesla. they were practical considerations that he applied directly in his creative work. He would often design incredibly complex machines entirely in his head, running detailed simulations mentally, down to the very last screw, long before he ever built a physical prototype. This extraordinary level of cognitive control suggests a mind operating on an uncommon bandwidth, a mind that was not just thinking, but was actively resonating with the very information it needed. And if we take this concept seriously, it leads us to the most profound of implications. It suggests that creativity, genius, and intuition are not just internal processes confined to the brain, but are actually connections to deeper currents of intelligence that flow through the entire universe. From this perspective, Tesla was perhaps not just imagining the future, he was literally listening to it, tuning into its frequency. All of this challenges our traditional, limited understanding of intelligence and consciousness. If Tesla's mind was truly able to receive fully formed ideas from realms beyond the rational, what does that say about the very nature of thought itself? It implies that consciousness might be layered, that beneath our everyday surface awareness lie deeper frequencies where profound insight, divine connection, and even universal truth reside. This is where Tesla's ideas touch the very edge of mysticism, and then, in a beautiful full circle, return again to the realm of science. The notion that we can train our minds to vibrate at higher frequencies aligns not only with ancient spiritual traditions, but also with cutting-edge research into neuroplasticity, altered states of consciousness, and the untapped frontiers of human potential. Perhaps the brain is not merely an organ that generates consciousness, but a magnificent instrument, one that, when finely tuned, can play cosmic notes that most of us never even hear. Tesla lived in that state of resonance, and his entire life suggests that human consciousness, when aligned with the deeper frequencies of the cosmos, becomes not only more intelligent, but more visionary, more intuitive, and infinitely more alive. The story of Nikola Tesla and his famous rival, Thomas Edison, is often told as a simple rivalry between two brilliant inventors, one eccentric and idealistic, the other pragmatic and business-driven. But beneath the surface of this historical narrative lies something far more profound. Their clash represented a battle between two fundamentally different worldviews, two competing philosophies of power and existence. Edison, with his direct current, DC system, believed in building systems that were centralized, tightly controlled, and, above all, profitable. His was a world of contained, metered power. Tesla, on the other hand, dreamed of a world where energy flowed like a great river, wireless, free, and abundant for all. This wasn't just about a better technology. It was about who gets to control the very lifeblood of civilization. Tesla's vision was revolutionary, not because it was scientifically unrealistic, but because it threatened the entire existing order. He wasn't just proposing a new method of transmitting electricity. He was challenging the fundamental belief that power, in all senses of the word, must be owned, regulated, and sold for profit. When Tesla introduced his alternating current, AC, system, he didn't just improve upon Edison's model, he completely obliterated its limitations. AC could travel farther, more efficiently, and at a fraction of the cost. But that victory was only the beginning of his vision. What Tesla truly aspired to was the wireless transmission, not just of signals, but of energy itself. With his legendary Wardenclyffe Tower, he aimed to build a global system where people could draw electrical power straight from the air, no wires, no meters, and no monopolies. To those invested in a system built on profit and scarcity, this was nothing short of heresy. J.P. Morgan, the powerful financier who had initially funded the project, famously withdrew his support upon realizing that Tesla's invention couldn't be metered. The implications were explosive. If energy, the very engine of modern economies, could be free, then the structures of power built on scarcity would collapse. Tesla wasn't silenced because his ideas failed. He was silenced because he succeeded in imagining a world that the powers of his time did not want to exist. The war between them was not just technological or economic, it was deeply ideological. Edison's approach fit neatly within the paradigm of the industrial age. Production, consumption, and control. Tesla's ideas, by contrast, hinted at a future that was far more organic and anarchic, a networked, decentralized world where individuals could harness the natural forces of the universe directly for themselves. In a sense, Tesla represented the profound intuition that the universe itself is fundamentally abundant, that nature's frequencies could empower humanity rather than enslave it. To allow such ideas to flourish would mean completely redefining our concepts of wealth, rethinking the very idea of ownership, and reimagining what it means to live in harmony with the planet. It's not hard to see why these ideas were buried. Tesla's fall from public favor was no accident. It was a slow, deliberate erasure. His lab was destroyed in a mysterious fire. His patents were ignored, and his name was scrubbed from the very inventions he helped to pioneer. The war of frequencies was never just about volts and amps. It was about truth and fear, liberation and control. Looking back now, we can ask, what did we lose when we chose Edison's world over Tesla's? Perhaps we lost more than a technological opportunity. Perhaps we lost a future shaped by a deep trust in the natural intelligence of the cosmos. A future where frequency wasn't just a utility, but a bridge to unlocking deeper human potential. Tesla saw energy not as a commodity to be hoarded, but as a sacred element of life, something to be harmonized with, not exploited. His downfall is a cautionary tale, not of scientific failure, but of a society unprepared, or perhaps unwilling, to embrace true freedom. The suppression of Tesla's work reminds us that the most dangerous truths are often not the ones that challenge our science, but the ones that challenge our structures of power. And so, the real war of frequencies continues today, not between currents or companies, but between visions, one that seeks to dominate the flow of energy and one that dares to set it free. We live in a sea of invisible waves, fields of frequency that surround, penetrate, and interact with us constantly. From the moment we wake up, we are immersed in complex electromagnetic environments. Wi-Fi signals bouncing off our walls, radio frequencies pulsing through the air, the rhythmic blue light of our screens, all of it is subtly altering our biology. We don't see them, and most of the time we don't feel them, but they shape us nonetheless. Tesla understood this truth long before modern science began to catch up. He spoke of frequencies as carriers of influence, not just as technological signals, but as forces that could affect the body, the mind, and even the soul. What he glimpsed is something we are only now, a century later, beginning to truly grasp. That frequency is not a niche concept relegated to physics labs, but the very medium through which much of reality unfolds. In that sense, we are not separate from this field. We are the field, constantly resonating with the world, whether we are conscious of it or not. Scientific research now confirms that exposure to different frequencies can influence everything from our sleep cycles and cognitive performance to our stress levels and emotional stability. Music therapy, for instance, uses specific tones to stimulate healing processes in the body. The brain responds differently to a 432 Hz tone than to a 440 Hz one, and our heart rate, breath, and even our immune function can be modulated by sound alone. This isn't pseudoscience, it's neurobiology, it's physics, it's resonance. Tesla believed that if we could learn the exact frequencies at which the body and mind operate optimally, we could design technologies not to dominate nature, but to cooperate with it. He envisioned cities powered by energy that vibrated in harmony with the human organism, rather than bombarding it. What he foresaw is now a growing field of study: bio, resonance, frequency healing, and vibrational medicine. He knew, even then, that we are not just influenced by frequencies, we are shaped by them, molded at every level of our being, by the vibrations we choose to allow into our lives. Even our emotions, those most intimate and human of experiences, carry a specific frequency. The electromagnetic field of the human heart, a measurable and powerful phenomenon, changes its pattern depending on whether we are experiencing anger, joy, fear, or gratitude. Our environments also carry their own frequencies. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt a sense of tension or, conversely, a profound sense of peace, even before a single word was spoken. That is vibration. It's a transfer of energy at a level beyond language, beyond logic. Tesla hinted at this when he spoke of non-physical energies that influence life, suggesting that the energetic atmosphere around us could either elevate or suppress our human potential. In a world increasingly saturated with artificial frequencies, from 5-gram towers to industrial noise, the question becomes critical. What are we bathing ourselves in? What frequencies are we unknowingly entraining ourselves to every single day? The answer may determine not only our mood, but our long-term well-being, our clarity of thought, and our very capacity to feel connected to ourselves, to others, and to the world. To see life through Tesla's eyes is to recognize that reality is not just visual or tactile, it is vibrational. We are instruments, constantly tuning and being tuned. This reframe has the power to shift how we approach everything: our relationships, our work, our health, even our own identity. What if depression, anxiety, and fatigue are not merely chemical imbalances, but also signs of being vibrationally out of tune with the right frequencies? What if creativity, inspiration, and love arise not from effort alone, but from resonance, from being in sync with the subtle harmonics of the cosmos? Tesla's legacy urges us to ask these questions, not as mystics escaping science, but as explorers reclaiming it. The invisible waves around us are real, and their effects are undeniable. The challenge, and the opportunity, is to become conscious of them, to learn to design our inner and outer worlds not for noise, but for harmony. And in doing so, perhaps we can begin to live not just in the world, but with it. In recent years, groundbreaking scientific studies have illuminated something that Tesla understood intuitively. The heart, not just the brain, emits a powerful electromagnetic field, one that is up to 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain, and it can extend several feet around the body. This discovery resonates deeply with Tesla's own belief in the importance of frequency, and especially in his idea that love, the highest form of human emotion, could be understood as a vibration, a frequency that transcends time and space. If the heart emits a frequency this powerful, could it be that love, compassion, and gratitude are not just emotional experiences, but are powerful frequencies that shape the very fabric of the universe around us? Tesla's vision of the universe was not one of cold, mechanistic laws, but of a living, breathing, interconnected field of energy. He saw the cosmos as a harmonious symphony, where everything, from the smallest atom to the largest star, was in constant motion, vibrating at frequencies that could be understood and harnessed. So, what if the heart's frequency is not just an isolated phenomenon, but part of a larger cosmic harmony, where the vibrations of each living being interact with the vibrations of the universe itself? This idea is echoed in countless spiritual traditions which speak of the heart as a center of wisdom and the gateway to higher consciousness. Whether through the rhythmic pulse of the heartbeat itself or the quieter, more subtle frequencies it radiates, our connection to the cosmos might be far more intimate and profound than we have ever realized. The heart, then, becomes a portal not just to our own humanity, but to the broader, interconnected web of all life. One of the most profound aspects of Tesla's work was his unshakable belief that humanity's potential was limited not by our capacity to generate energy, but by our ability to tune to the right frequencies. If the heart's frequency is indeed a key to unlocking higher states of consciousness, then what happens when we consciously and intentionally align ourselves with it? Imagine a world where individuals are able to resonate at the frequencies of love, peace, and gratitude. Imagine a world where the collective human consciousness is tuned to the same vibrational harmony that governs the cosmos. Could this shift in frequency be the key to overcoming the divisions and conflicts that plague our world? Tesla's message suggests that this possibility is not merely a fantasy, but a real potential for human evolution, a step toward creating a society based not on the control of energy, but on the free flow of universal love and understanding. The implications of Tesla's insights are vast. If our hearts are indeed attuned to the frequencies of the cosmos, then our internal state might be the most important factor in determining our experience of reality. Just as a musical instrument can be tuned to create harmony, so too can the human heart and, by extension, the human being. Perhaps the true secret to unlocking our potential is not in the quest for more power or more technology, but in the cultivation of inner harmony. If we learn to tune ourselves to the highest frequencies, those of love, gratitude, and compassion, we not only elevate our own experience, but we also contribute to the elevation of the collective consciousness of all humanity. Tesla's belief in the power of frequency was not just about machines or electricity. It was about the potential to create a new kind of society, one based on resonance, harmony, and love. In the final chapters of his life, Nikola Tesla lived in near obscurity, a man whose ideas had outpaced his era by generations. Yet, despite being cast aside by the institutions of power, Tesla never abandoned his belief that energy, and more importantly, frequency, held the key not just to technological progress, but to human evolution. He was a scientist, yes, but also a visionary mystic. He spoke of the cosmos as a symphony, and of the human being as a participant in that divine composition. What Tesla proposed wasn't merely a future with wireless energy or infinite power, but a world in which humanity had remembered its deeper nature, not as consumers or machines, but as beings of resonance. Today, we begin to understand that what he intuited aligns with a growing synthesis between science and spirituality. And perhaps that is his truest legacy, not the patents or the inventions, but the bridge he quietly built between the mechanical and the metaphysical. This bridge, though invisible, is now more relevant than ever. Modern physics points to a universe where particles are waves, where observation shapes reality, and where everything is connected in a vast quantum field. Neuroscience reveals that consciousness is not confined to the brain, but radiates through frequencies that influence and are influenced by the environment. And spiritual traditions, both ancient and modern, speak of vibration, alignment, and intertuning as pathways to truth. What Tesla suggested more than a century ago, that the secrets of the universe lie in understanding frequency, energy, and vibration, is no longer a poetic metaphor. It's becoming the foundation of a new paradigm, one in which technology serves consciousness rather than controls it, and where healing, connection, and progress are measured not by material output, but by harmony with the natural world and with each other. But if this vision is to become our reality, it demands more than just admiration for Tesla. It requires that we listen to what he was truly trying to say. He warned against systems that centralize power, not just in terms of electricity, but in the way our society is organized. He believed in decentralization, in individuals empowered by knowledge, intuition, and free energy. The future Tesla dreamed of was not just brighter, it was freer, more conscious, and more deeply human. It was a future where technology enhances life rather than replaces it, where science is guided by wisdom, and where spirituality is not dogma but a profound resonance with the universe. To walk the path Tesla hinted at, we must see ourselves not as passive passengers in a machine world, but as creators, as vibrational beings capable of shaping reality through the frequencies we emit, the thoughts we think, and the love we choose to radiate. In the end, Tesla leaves us not with a machine, but with a mirror that reflects the fundamental question: what frequency are you broadcasting to the universe? In a world saturated with noise, distraction, and artificial rhythms, to attune yourself to the deeper frequencies of life is a revolutionary act. The future, as Tesla saw it, would not be built only by wires and towers, but by consciousness, by a humanity that remembers its connection to the cosmos, to each other, and to the great, vibrating mystery of existence. His message echoes now, more than ever. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. But more than that, live in those terms. Because the real transformation begins not when you grasp the theory, but when you embody the frequency. And in that act, the future Tesla imagined becomes not just possible, but inevitable.